So tonight we have 4 presenters, and they'll just hold their hand up when they are. Crystal is one of our presenters, and Crystal has been a Toastmaster since 2001. Now, during this time, she has served in many speech contest roles throughout the club, area, and division. She has competed in all levels as well as placed second at the division level. She enjoys being involved in contests and likes doing things outside of regular meetings. And she's happy to be involved in this presentation tonight to share about the different contest roles. Yeah. Crystal, there you go. And Colin, now Colin knows the skills he can bring to a contest, but knows there is no more any more important than being the techie ones. And I'm not quite sure exactly what this word is, but he says there's no face or no something of the contest. Something about the contest says each of the roles is unique and important. That's something I meant to ask you, Colin, about your introduction. But he knows he's the techie person in all of this. So, Colin, hello. And Lynn Howlett has been our area director for the past 2 years. And last year, she was the Division E contest chair. So it is obvious that she knows her way around a Toastmaster speech contest. Welcome, Lynn. And I am Linda. And during my 10 years as a Toastmaster, I have at one time or other held almost every speech contest role. So I truly understand that it takes a team to make a speech contest run smoothly. So with that, we'll get ourselves started. So although tonight's presentation is entitled Speech Contests, our topic is actually about the team itself, the people that are behind the scenes who participate to make a speech contest work. And the topic of speech contests is pretty broad, and our presentation will touch on some of the rules and regulations, but we mostly want to focus on the contest roles itself. This way, our members will have a better understanding of speech contest roles, so they too can assist at one time at any other levels of contests. And it doesn't help to refresh our memories too. So as you can see, we're going to be talking about contests. We're going to be talking about the contest roles itself, and we'll have time for a Q&A as we go along too. So the purpose of a speech contest is to provide an opportunity for members to improve their speaking abilities, to recognize individual Toastmasters as an encouragement to all, and to provide an opportunity for all Toastmasters to learn by observing speakers who have benefited from their Toastmasters training. Now, starting at the club level, members compete in the different types of contests, with winners continuing on, beating up through the different levels, some even getting a chance to take part in the World Championship of Public Speaking. So the different types of contests are the International Speech Contest, which is actually the default that's held across the board. And that is a 5 to 7 minute speech. Subject can be whatever the contestant wants. The humorous speech, which of course speaks for itself, it's be a funny speech. Table topics rather, evaluation, and tall tale speech contest, which is an exaggerated speech. And the district, our District 99, or any district, can choose a second speech contest if they want, aside from the international. And this year, our district has chosen the humorous speech contest. The international speech contest begins at the club level and proceeds through the area, then to the division, then to the district. And at the district, it's usually held at the conference, the spring conference. From there, it'll move on to the regional quarterfinals, the semifinal, and the final levels. The remaining speech contests beyond the international is the only one that will go beyond the district level, not the other ones. Now, before COVID dropped its ugly head upon us, all of our speech contests were held in person. which meant that we actually had to have a physical location, whether it be our club meeting room or another room somewhere else. It also meant complete setup, making sure that the tables were arranged properly. We had to make sure that we had actual paperwork in front of our faces. And of course, that all the people for the contest were in place and attending the contest. What happened after COVID? Well, it changed contests up completely. We started having virtual only contests, and those actually are fairly flexible, which meant that it could expand upon our audience because people from all over could attend the contest because it was virtual. And you had to be able to utilize technology, which could be kind of a learning curve at the beginning, but it became quite common. So, and depending on your communication platform, it can be fairly cost effective. Then there was hybrid. Now, hybrid, that's a combination of both in-person and virtual. It's challenging to manage both at the same time. And the cost of supporting both in-person and online attendees may not be as cost-effective as virtual only, but it can attend, more people can attend it too. My suggestion on that was maybe to tie it in with another event. Well, I'm going to turn it over to our contest chair, Lynn Howlett.
Thank you. Hi there. I am your contest chair. I'm in charge of the budget. I have to find the room we need to make this contest go smoothly as possible. I will be charging you $5 as an entry fee. This is so that I can pay for what I need to get for this contest, like snacks and stuff. Everybody needs a snack, everybody needs a drink. And if you're coming to visit us, you need something to do. Now, I also need to find all the helpers that I need to get this contest going smoothly. First, I need a chief judge that will help take care of all the judges and all their needs. Then I have to find 7 more judges in the division contest. Well, if you're in the area or in the club, you don't need as many, but once you get up there, you need 7 judges for the division contest, plus a tiebreaker. That makes 9 judges if you count the chief judge. Then I need 2 timers, 2 Zoom masters, 2 Zoom ballot counters, and a sergeant at arms. And for the speech contest last year, I also needed a speaker because it was table topics. Now, once that's all done, I need to get all the contestants' eligibility set up. They have to send all this information to the chief judge. The forms, fill out their profile sheets. This all has to make sure that it gets to the chief judge. And that, of course, is my role also. I have to get this done. Then, now that I've got all my helpers in place and my contestants all ready to go, I need to fix up the agenda. The agenda is something that I need to take care of, and I'm so busy with deciding who gets to go first, the international speakers or the table topic speakers. There was such a conflict last year that I had to do all kinds of things all over again because nope, we should have table topics first. Nope, we should have internationals first. So I just had to make up my mind and just do it. That's the way it is. Now, the contestants need a dry run and figure out who is going first. And I have to brief them on what is going to be happening and all the rules and regulations that take place in all this stuff. Once that is all done with, then I am now presenting the awards. And the speaker, the first place winner, gets a beautiful plaque that is all etched in glass. Toastmasters goes all out for that. It's so beautiful. I actually got one last year. Now I am a virtual. Okay, you want to go down to the next slide? Okay, so once I figure out who the winner is, I now have to send out the certificate to the president, the district, on who is actually going to be the winner to go on to the next district conference. Now I'm virtual. I am your virtual Toastmaster contest chair. The rules are different. I am setting up a budget, but I don't really need to have money because we're all online. So there's not really a whole lot of stuff that we need to do for a budget. I have to get all the helpers, as I mentioned already, 7 plus a timer, 2 timers, 2 ballot counters, 2 Zoom masters, sergeant at arms, and a speaker. But now I have to make sure I have email addresses, text numbers, everything that I need to contact each other while we're online. Those are numbers you need to communicate with your members to get your briefing done, your ballots done. Everything goes online now. Texting is the way it goes. I still need to check the eligibility of all the contestants. I still have to make sure that the contestants fill out their profile numbers so that the chief judge has something to go with and the Toastmaster has their abilities to do this. But in order to get them, the contestants, all set up on who goes first, there's this wonderful tool called the Wheel of Fortune that you can just figure out who can go first by just plucking out their names on the wheel. It's such a great tool. You've got to use it. Now, the bad thing is with people online, if your device fails while you are speaking, I'm sorry to say you have 30 minutes to get back online, get back into track, and get back to where you left off. And that's how you start again. And if it fails again, I'm so sorry, but you're now disqualified. Now for the presentation, we have this beautiful curtain that goes in and out for presenting the awards. The awards for your participation, for your first place, second place, third place winner gets on this presentation for the Toastmaster and the contest chair to present. And all you get is a picture of your winner trophy because now I have to mail it to you. So I got to make sure your text number, your email, and your address is all set up, or else you won't get this presentation either. Thank you.
Colin.
Thank you. Madam Contest Chair, you have appointed me to be tonight's Zoom Master. For those who don't know what a Zoom Master is, the Zoom Master is here for online only contests. There's no such thing as a Zoom master for in-person. My role as a Zoom master may sound easy, and it is to a point, but I serve as the greeter. I am the first contact that anyone coming to the contest sees. I am letting people in. I am pinning speakers. I am helping rename. I am doing anything and everything in my power to make sure the contest can start on time and according to rules. My job is also to be here to manage breakout rooms. In an online contest, breakout rooms are used for judges, for the participants, and there's some other times where we have to use different rooms and move people around. I am also responsible for monitoring the chat. And this chat is not just between contestants and guests who are having issues. I need to be in constant communication with the contest chair and the contest Toastmaster to offer assistance, as who knows what will go wrong, but if it's anything techie, it is my job. Now, the question comes, well, who can be a Zoom master? And why did I choose to be one last year in a couple contests? Anyone can be a Zoom master if they're asked by a contest chair. One thing that is imperative to be a Zoom master is you must know your platform. And this is more than just being, I've been on Zoom or I've been on Google Meet or Teams. You need to know the configuration, the settings, the rules that have been put in place on the platform to ensure that you know how it's going to operate. And as our contest chair mentioned, there needs to be at least 2 Zoom masters. This is in case something happens to one account, but your second Zoom master can help manage some of the other little nuances that are constantly happening. One contest that I was in last year, we had, I don't even know how to explain, an issue with a judge and the contest chair. It was an interesting 15-minute phone call between me and the other Zoom master and 5 other people to figure out who had the right document for the next piece of the puzzle. That leads me into what documents are needed to be the Zoom master. You don't need any documents per se from the contest chair or any participants. You do need to know the order of the contestants to let them back into the room, because that's your job to manage the breakout rooms. Some contests will have the Zoom master be responsible for sharing screens. This means you are sharing the participation certificates and the awards. You've got to be able to share at the right time with sound in the right order. And just to reiterate one final piece, the communication aspect of a Zoom master is imperative. You've got to be in contact and willing to call your contest chair and your contest Toastmaster and all other Zoom masters and even the Sergeant at Arms to figure out what you can do to help the contest move on. Thank you.
Crystal.
All right, now I am your chief judge for the contest. And my role as the chief judge is really to ensure that the contest follows the policies, the procedures that are set out in the speech contest rule book that is set out by Toastmasters International. Now, some of the roles that I have, or the duties, I guess, are things like before the contest, I'll work with the contest chair to look for some of the helpers, as she was talking about. So looking for things like the voting judges, the ballot counters, timers, as well as a secret tie-breaking judge. So we have the voting judges, but we also have a secret tie-breaking judge that people won't know who that person is except for the chief judge. And that ballot will only be counted in the event that there is a tie. Also, I will conduct the briefings for each of these positions that are listed above. So I will brief the judges on things like how to use the judging criteria, things to look for. I will talk to the ballot counters about how to count the ballots, because when we count the ballots, there's a point system for the first, second, and third. The timers I will brief them on how to use the timing cards or the timing lights or whatever equipment that they will have. And the secret tie-breaking judge, again, they would get the same briefings as the other judge. I would also ensure that the stopwatch and timing cards are working properly with the timekeeper to ensure that everything is going to run smoothly. Now, during the contest, I will really be responsible for after the speakers have spoken. So when all of the speakers or the evaluators or whatever type of contest it is have spoken, I will collect the time record sheet from the timers and the tie-breaking judge's record. I might have some other helpers that will help me gather the judging forms, but I will also be responsible in ensuring that all of the judges' ballots or forms have been collected. And then I will go back with a timer. I'll take my timing sheet and I will take my ballot counters into another area away from the contest, and we will count the ballots. I will also look for if anybody has called a protest on a speech. So sometimes protests are called if they feel that the speech wasn't original. Maybe somebody said a quote, but they didn't reference it, or things like that. Or perhaps the speaker went out of the speaking area, things like that. Somebody can call a protest. And I will be responsible in looking at the information provided and decide if something has happened that a protest could make them disqualified or ineligible. Once we have counted all the ballots and we've looked at if there's protests or timing penalties or things like that, I will provide a list to the contest chair that shows the placement of the contestants. So who was first, who was second, and who was third. And then dispose of the judge's records. So once everything is done, I will ensure that the judge's records, so all of the ballots that they have given me, are disposed of after the meeting is over, or the contest. So this is what a form would look like, that I would put the information. You can see at the bottom, it has third place winner, second, and first. And so when the contest chair is going to announce the winner, they will always announce the third place first, and then the second, and then the first place.
Hello, I am your judge, one of the judges that the chief judge has chosen. And I'll also be talking about the tiebreaker judge too. So my role as a judge is to pick the winner. So my purpose is to select the speaker who, in my mind, has given the best speech on that day. My function is to simply rank the contestants according to their performance based on the criteria on the judge's form. My decisions are confidential. I do not explain my decisions to the contestants or tell contestants how they could improve. To do so would distract me from my purpose and cause me to judge improperly. Voting judges. The rule calls, as they said, for at least 5 at a club level, plus a tiebreaker judge. But allowance is made for clubs that are pretty small like ourselves to produce 5 judges, although judges can be recruited from other clubs. But normally I am appointed by the chief judge, some cases the contest chair. It's important that I attend the briefing by the judge So prior to the contest, the chief judge will hold a briefing, and I need to be there to listen in and catch up on all the last minute details. I am anonymous, so during the contest, nobody's supposed to know who I am really. So during a contest in person, I am armed with the paperwork that was provided for me, and I seat myself among the audience where I have full view of the speaking area and be able to hear the speaker. In a virtual, it's just a bit different. Before I join the audience or whatever the Zoom platform or whatever, I rename myself as Judge 1 or whatever is assigned to me. I will not turn my camera on. And during the voting, the Zoom master, Colin, is going to whisk me off into a breakout room with the chief judge, etc. The requirements for me to be a judge, really, to be a good judge, I must be accurate and committed to making a correct decision, to complete the judging form correctly. I must be fair and totally impartial and don't allow friendship, affiliation, age, sex, race, creed, national origin, profession, or anything like that to interfere with my decision. I must be trustworthy and realize that I am entrusted with the responsibility of selecting the best speaker as winner, and I must live up to that trust. I must be knowledgeable and know the contest rules, and I study the rules before each contest and be familiar with the judging form and know how to judge properly. And I must be a good listener. I listen carefully to each speaker and I don't become distracted. So my form, as you can see on the screen, number 1170, is my judge's certificate of eligibility and code of ethics. So I must use and fill that out. And it says on here to be eligible as a chief judge or a voting judge or tie-breaking judge, I must be at a club contest, be a paid member. At an area division and district contest, I must be a paid member for a minimum of 6 months and have completed a minimum of 6 speeches in the Competent Communicator, for those who can remember what that is, or earn certificates of completion in levels 1 and 2 of any path in Toastmasters Pathways Learning Experience. And judges for contests beyond the club level are not eligible to compete in the same contest type during the same contest cycle. The other form that I have is the judge's guide and ballot, which the chief judge provides me with. And this is how I determine who I'm going to choose for a speaker. So my form looks like that. You'll see it right on the screen. Is number 1171. And on it, there are 3 judging categories. There's content, and content is 50% of the total scoring. Delivery, there's 30% of that, and language, which is 20%. There are 2 sections of the form. You can see the top portion of and the bottom portion of it. The bottom portion of it, I would normally cut that right off right at the beginning and put that off to the side in my envelope. I'm making sure that it's signed with my name. And then when I'm finished with my judging, I'm going to put my first, second, and third place in there. I also suggest on these forms, you can see that there's the name that goes on the top portion, and it's got 1 through to 10 in case you have 10 contestants. If we had only 3, I would write, say, put Barry's name in number 10 if he's a first speaker. I put Larry in number 5 if he's our second speaker, and I put Susie in number 1 if she was our last speaker. And as I tally up, according to the point system, I would fold back. Once Barry is done, I would fold back so I don't see Barry's form anymore. And then I go to do the next job, which is Larry, and so on and so forth. That way, you're not distracted by what you did for the first and second speaker. So those are the 2 sections, and a ballot must be complete before it is given to the counters for tallying. So a judge's ballot is complete when 3 different contestants, 3 different are listed first, second, and third place. I have signed the ballot, and if any portion of that ballot is not complete or unreadable, the chief judge is going to go throw it out the window. all my work gone. In person, we have paper copies, which we fill in. I sign, like I said, at the bottom and tear it off. And then when I'm finished completing my 1, 2, and 3, I fold it up and I hold it up, and the ballot counter comes and picks it up for me or the chief judge. During a virtual contest, it is a little bit different. They have to decide with the chief judge and the contest chair have to decide how that is handled. Well, when you're taken off to the breakout room, do I have to take a photo of it and email it or message to the chief judge or a ballot counter? Do I use a fillable PDF and screenshot it? What do I do? But that needs to be determined before the actual contest, and it's always necessary to have a backup plan. So virtual does require more time and more practice. That is why I must attend the virtual contest dry run, which is held beforehand. So tiebreaker judge, I'm a secret. Nobody knows about me at all, not even the other judges. As a tiebreaker judge, I have the same requirements and qualifications must be met. I do not attend the briefing. Actually, the chief judge will probably call me in a phone call and say, here's what you need to do, and I make sure that I attend that. And she'll send me the paperwork in advance. During the contest, during the conference, I did talk about the in-person, but in the virtual, the setting, of course, I would not have my camera on at all. I wouldn't have let anybody know that I was a tie judge or anything like that. I am just there. I would still complete the ballot just like any of the other judges would do, and I keep it, and the chief judge will collect that one from me. Nobody else will collect it, and she'll use that only if we need to. Do I need training for my position? Well, there's no official training, but district does offer training, and I strongly suggest that you try it out. Just go and learn. And international, as you see on the bottom right-hand side there, international actually has some tutorials too that are very interesting and very informative. And there's a speech contest rule book too, which you can download from Toastmasters International. So that is my role as chief judge, our judge, and tiebreaker judge. Lynn.
I am your sergeant of arms. Before the contest, I'm going to make sure your room is all set up with your chairs and your tables if needed. Drinks are present, snacks are around. I will direct your contestants to where they need to go, backstage, in front of the stage, in the front room, wherever they need to go. I will make sure that their props are in their spots where they need to be readily available. At the contest, I will open the contest by letting you know that your phones are not allowed to ring during a contest. You need to put them on silent. I will let you know where the exit are and where we are going to go in case of an emergency, where your bathroom is, and all those things that you regular meetings tell you at the beginning. Oops. Hold on. All right. Now I'm going to introduce the contest chair. I will give you a great speech on who this beautiful person is. I will make sure that once that is all done, that the contestants have all arrived and escort them out of the room during other speakers' speaking time. I will bring them back in their position in queue and help them with any props that they need to set up for their speeches. I will sit by the door and make sure no one goes in or out during a speaking time. The speakers need quiet and no distractions whatsoever. I will also help any of the officials in any capacity they need. If they are missing some paperwork, if they're missing anything at all, I am the runner for the meeting. Now, during our virtual contest, before the meeting, I don't really have a whole lot to do because I don't have to set up the room or get your snacks ready. I still will make sure that the contestants are still around and where they need to go, and the Zoom masters will take care of the rest. I will provide the logistics for including video and muting yourself while we are on the contest, because we still don't want any noise while the people are speaking. The contestants need their time. And that the recordings are not allowed and the snapshots, you cannot take them. I will introduce your chair, your contest chair for the day. I will make sure that the contestants have all arrived and are sent to the breakout room, but that is where the Zoom master takes over. And that is about all the main things that I need to do for the contest on a virtual contest. Oh, all right. Now I am your ballot counter. Before the contest, I will have a briefing with the chief judge. They are they are in charge of letting us know all the rules for the contest. Then when the judges are all complete with their tallies, I will start collecting all the ballots from the judges. They usually lift up their hands and then I go around and help collect all the little ballots that they have. Then I bring them out into the hall where the chief judge and I will be meeting and counting all. I will be filling out these little tally sheets to see how many people decided that Karen will be first place. Oh, no. Who's the judge's name? Okay. The contestant Lynn is first place. Larry is first place. And Susie Q is, oh, well, she's second. So I am going to count all the ones that the judges have decided who is first and who is second and tally up how many first, seconds, and thirds there is. Then I will hand my sheet to the chief judge and she will do the rest from there. Now, if I find that one of those judges, that Linda did not sign her paper, well, now I have to give it to the chief judge and say, I'm sorry, judge, but this lady forgot to sign. And she's going to go, all right, she doesn't count. She can't do her job right. She can't be here. So now my tally sheet is -1. Now on a virtual contest, well, if you don't sign your tally sheet, your ballot count, or the judges don't sign, then I will just send them a text and say, can you resend your picture after you sign your form? And then we will count your ballots for the tally sheet. I am still sent to the breakout room with the chief judge as I count all these numbers and tally up all the judges' sheets as they come in during their text messages. Then I will go out of the room and let the chief judge do her own little counting and return to the regular room as the chief judge and the judges do their tallying up of their own. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. I am your timer. As timer, I'm responsible for monitoring time for each contestant. I am one of 2 timers appointed by the chief judge. And during an in-person contest, one of us will be provided with a stopwatch and the other with a signaling device that displays green, yellow, and red colors. If I am the timer with the stopwatch, I will keep a written record of elapsed time of each speech on the speech contest time record sheet and instructions for timers, which is, I don't have here, I have it on another sheet. And this constitutes the timing. So you can see that you can download the timer backgrounds from the virtual ones through TI if you want Toastmaster International. If not, you better have some, well, maybe bigger cards than what we have here on the bottom left to show our speakers. And if I am the timer managing the timing device, I ensure that the contestants are able to view an accurate green, red, or yellow or red signal at appropriate times during their speech. And I would likely have a second timing device like my mobile in the event that the other one forgets to start the stopwatch. During virtual contests, I am one of 2 timers. One of us is the official timer, the other is a backup. And I use virtual color backgrounds like you see on the bottom right-hand side. What I will do is I'm going to place either a little black sheet like this over top of my camera or put a piece of black tape over that. So then you don't see my image, you only see my background. Once I am all done, the Zoom master, or once the speaker is all done, the Zoom master is going to whisk off to the breakout room with the chief judge. So requirements, I need to attend that judge's briefing, very important. I have to be attentive. This is where my Toastmaster training really comes in handy. Not only do I listen, but I observe. The timing must commence with the contestant's first sound or attempt to communicate with the audience. I will not indicate in any way if a contestant is over or under in speech. So you can see this is what my contestant timing sheet looks like here. And then I just give this off to the chief judge to take in with the ballot counter. And that is my role.
Now, I am one of your contestants. So I'm the entertainment for the afternoon or for the evening. There are things that I have to do to first ensure that I'm eligible to be a contestant in this contest, and I need to review the eligibility criteria. The eligibility criteria for things like the humorous contest or evaluation or table topics are just that I have paid my dues to the club and that my club is in good standing, which means that they have now submitted all of the dues to Toastmasters International. If I'm going to compete in the international speech contest, I will have needed to do the same things, make sure I've paid my dues, make sure that my club has paid the dues to Toastmasters International, but I also need to have completed my level 1 and level 2 in one of the pathways for Toastmasters International. Now that I'm eligible to compete and I've confirmed that, I'm going to prepare my speech. Now, the speech that I'm going to prepare needs to be an original speech. It can't be a speech that somebody else has done or some work, a book or a poem or something else that somebody has completed. It needs to be something that I have written myself. If I'm going to include a quote or something, then I need to ensure that I cite that information and give credit for that quote or reference. I also need to make sure I prepare an introduction for the contest chair for my speech. Now, if I'm going to be in the table topics or evaluation contests, I don't have to prepare anything. The table topics, as we know, is something that's going to be a question given to me, and I can't really prepare for that other than practicing my Toastmaster skills. Or evaluation contests, practice doing some evaluations, but no real preparation ahead of time for those two contests. I also need to make sure that I attend the contestants briefing so that I know what's my speaking area, because it's really important that the contest chair will tell me you can't speak, you can't go past this point or outside of this area, because if I do that, if I go outside those areas, I can be disqualified. I also need to make sure that I can see the timing lights or timing cards before I'm going to do my presentation, or make sure that it's adjusted or they're moved so that I can see any of those things. If I have any props that I'm going to use, I need to inform the contest chair of the props that I'm going to use and work with them before I start my speech to have them available for me. Now, during the contest, I'm going to, again, get those props or visual aids set up ahead of time. And then the contest chair is going to give my introduction to the audience. So the introduction that I have prepared. And once the introduction has been given, I'm going to proceed to that speaking area and start my speech. Once I've finished my speech, I'm going to remove any of the props or visual aids that I've used, and then I'm going to return to my chair. These are the eligibility forms that I fill out to make sure that I am eligible. So I would click which speech contest it is, put the title of my speech, the date, and so on, and also make sure that I print my name and sign. And then on the form number 1189 over there, this is what I fill out for my introduction or my interview as well afterwards, because after all of the speakers have spoken and the judges are out with the chief judge counting the ballots, I will get an interview from the contest chair, and they will use some of this information on my speech contest profile to ask me questions for my interview.
Colin?
Fellow Toastmasters, we have done a lot of work in the background. We are all prepared. We are ready for the actual speech contest. I will be serving as the Toastmaster for the speech contest. As a reminder that I am appointed by the contest chair, which means I have to have a solid relationship, and it all comes back down to that communication with my group. At the heart of my role as a contest Toastmaster, I will be running the meeting like we run any other meeting, with a few caveats here and there. I am responsible for opening the contest with a brief introduction. And if our Sergeant at Arms hasn't made any of the introductions to the key members of the contest, including the Chief Judge, I can do that in my introduction. I can also remind people to turn off their phones. And also another reminder of taking no photographs. My role also includes transition between speakers, the introduction, the interviews, and the awards. So when I am making the introductions for our speakers, I am not allowed to make preliminary remarks about any speaker or the subject of their speech. Or I'm also not allowed to mention the name of their club, their place of residence, and when I introduce them, I must introduce the speaker clearly and slowly. We mentioned a few of these examples. If I were to introduce a speaker at an international speech contest, or humorous or tall tales, I would say the contestant name, the speech title, contestant name, and that's it. For table topics, it is slightly different. It'll be the contestant name, the question, and then the contestant name. In the condition that we are doing an evaluation speech contest, all contestants will listen to the test speaker, and all but one speaker may remain in the room. Everyone must be escorted out, and at that point, I can introduce the first speaker to start their evaluation. And after each contestant finishes their speech, I will request 1 minute of silence for the judges to complete their tally. And that is a cue, and I'll watch for the cue from the timer for that 1 minute, and then we'll proceed. Also, another role is the interviews. While the judges are in their room, I will be interviewing the contestants. So in order to the interview, I get some questions about the member, the speaker, and they learn a little about them. And at that time, we will be awarding them with their participation award. I'm also responsible for announcing the winners. Everything I have said for the last bit of the role holds true, whether this is a virtual or an in-person meeting. How I execute it is just slightly different. So, what do I need in order to do my role? I need access to the contestant profiles, which my contest chair will graciously hand them over to me. I can review the data. I can get my interview questions ready. And upon agreement earlier on, if I am responsible for the screen share as a Toastmaster, I have to be ready in order to hand out the certificate of participation. If not, I'm working with the Zoom Master to do this. And with that, we are going to host the best contest ever because we have the best teacher as the Toastmaster of tonight's meeting. Linda.
Thank you very much for the presentation, everybody. So tonight, we're right at the 50-minute mark. That we did, I think, a good job this evening. I think all of you learned something about the different roles that we need to fill in order to hold a contest. And we talked about different types of contests, etc. So I think you know what will happen both in person and virtual. So in order to run a contest like a well-oiled machine, it needs willing participants and maybe even yourself. So if you want to test the waters, there are many area and division contest chairs looking for volunteers like yourselves. All you have to do is contact them or contact me. If you want to know more about the rules and regulations of all these speech contests, then I suggest you download from Toastmaster International website item number 1171, which is the speech contest booklet. So with that, we're going to go into a Q&A here real quickly if anybody else has any. And in the meantime, I'm just going to end this portion here. And I think have I stopped sharing? Yes, I did. Okay, so we'll have a quick Q&A and then we'll take a break. From the audience, do we have anybody that has any questions for us? Just hold up your hand if you do. None? You have all these experts here and nobody has a question? Lisa, go ahead.
I was just wondering when you talked about timing, the timing cards, you talked about the timing cards in the backgrounds, but then you also said that you don't give any indication of what the timing is. So that confused me a little bit.
Okay, Yeah, I probably did. I have a tendency to confuse people. So yes, what I don't want to show them is my face. So in the virtual contest, I do cover that so that all you see is the background. So my backgrounds are going to be the green, yellow, and red. And also during an in-person contest, I do want to be open and be visible to the contestants. So I make sure that I have, if I have a color or something, that I make sure that I show that and that they can see that. At one particular contest that I was at and I was a contestant, I wasn't able to see the timer that well. They were kind of way back in behind everybody. So that's a learning process. That answer your question?
Well, kind of. So now I know for sure that the person who is speaking does get to see the timing cards.
Absolutely.
But during that, you said something about you didn't give any indication whether they had gone over or under their time.
No, no,
Okay.
you do not.
But you are
do-
showing them the timing cards.
I show them the timing cards, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't, indicate in any way, hey, you're going over, or flash any other lights or anything like that.
Other
So
than just the red card. they
That's
still get
right.
to see-
So you
okay.
just hold up the
Okay.
red, and that's all there is to it. And you
That was
mark.
where my confusion was. Okay.
Absolutely.
There,
Absolutely.
there is a tolerance that speakers must be within. So if they fall within that range, they're allowed to continue on. If they go above 30 seconds above the time, they're disqualified. There's no hint from the timer, from Linda, that you're 30, 31, or 32 seconds over. It's red. And there's no
Crystal-
facial expression, there's no hint.
Crystal, what is the time, the actual times for the international speech, for instance? Is it 4 minutes and 31 seconds?
The guidelines, it's a 5 to 7 minute speech, but you can be 30 seconds either way, right? If you speak 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you would qualify, or 7:30. But if you were 7:31, then you would be disqualified. And they say that they allow that for if there's any malfunction of a timer or the cards or things like that. That's why they allow that 30 seconds either way. Generally, as well as when it's in an in-person meeting, the timers, they're at the back of the room and the judges don't see the timers. They don't see the lights. They don't see the cards, which might have been what Linda was talking about in her presentation. It's harder on virtual because everybody can see the screens and we can see the lights come up. But in an in-person meeting, the judges aren't supposed to see the timing lights or cards.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Any other questions? So, yes, Janine.
I was just curious, why are you not allowed to say the club's name of the speaker?
That could
Just
cause
wouldn't-
some bias, or if that's a club or things like that, or oh, that one's from PA and I'm from PA, or things like that. That's why it's supposed to be they're just speakers.
During the
Gotcha.
actual interview portion of when the contest is done and in between, then they do the interviews, that's when they can actually talk about what club they are. Because by that time, the judges are all out and they've done their judging,
Right.
etc. Mm-hmm.
And it would be interesting to hear where everybody's from.
Yeah, the interview portion is probably the most fun. It's like table topics. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to take thank you very much. First of all, I want to say thank you to Lynn, Colin, and Crystal for taking part with me. This was a project that started off small and ended up being a little bit bigger than we had anticipated, but each and every one of us is going to get a project fulfilled in their pathways. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate everything that you've done for me.